Welcome to the 5 best restaurants in the Fairfax district. This is in LA. This is not Fairfax County. If you got to this video from something about that, I don't know how the algorithm sent you here, but this is about Los Angeles. So if you're not familiar with the Fairfax district, this is like where the Farmers Market and the Grove and I believe it's CBS Television City Studio is all kind of right there. So it's that and that surrounding area. Really, the Farmers Market and the Grove are really great starting points for sure, but there are some other places outside of that I also recommend. For starters, Marmalade Cafe, they have multiple locations around LA. We like their Calabasas and Westlake Village locations as well, but they do have one in the Fairfax district. This is their spaghetti and meatballs. This is the blackened chicken penne. And this is the bread you get for their complimentary bread service. The Calabasas location has good like patio dining that's good for like in the evening, and it's like not busy and stuff. Their Westlake Village location, really nice patio dining as well. Actually, they have little like fountains and things. This drink here is the Marmalade Mule. I believe you can choose to put either vodka or whiskey in it. And then this is just one of their like house red wines, whichever one sounded good that day. It's probably like a Pinot or a Cab or something. This is their Caesar salad, which was really nice. This is the marmalade carbonara. So it's got like the chicken and the peas and some bacon and penne pasta. I love this one. And then this is like their chocolate lava cake. Chocolate lava cake and like chocolate souffles are like my favorite dessert ever. So Marmalade Cafe has like a lot of good things to choose from. Next up is Dupar's. They've been open since 1938. This one's at the Farmers Market. They're open 24/7. They're known for their pancakes. They were actually voted the best pancakes in the US by Esquire magazine. They're our favorite pancakes, and I mean, we've been all over. And I don't even care for breakfast food all that much, but the best pancakes by far are definitely the ones at Dupar's. They're usually pretty busy around breakfast time. I feel like the line moves pretty quickly. You don't usually have to wait that much. There's indoor and outdoor seating. So this is what a fat stack of pancakes looks like. We've also gotten other things too. Like you can see some hash browns and some bacon in the background. I go just for the pancakes though. Next up is Cantor's Deli. This is also a super classic one. So this one's been around since 1931. It's like an old Hollywood classic diner. They're also open 24/7. I think some of those hours are only to go, though. You can't dine in 24/7. The first time we ever went here, we had gone to an event for Richard Sherman's I believe it was his 90th birthday party. I was doing the math, and it had to have been like 90, 95, like something like that. So I believe it was his 90th birthday party. If you're not familiar with who Richard Sherman is, if you ever heard of the Sherman Brothers, they wrote all like the classic Disney songs back in like when Walt Disney was alive. So like It's a Small World and the songs for like Mary Poppins and that whole era of Disney, they wrote all of those songs. So Richard Sherman was still alive. He lived longer. They were doing this whole big party to celebrate and doing this whole tribute. And then afterwards, everyone went to Cantor's Deli to go celebrate. So then we also went another time. I think we took my sister maybe when she was visiting because she's never really been to the area. But yeah, we've gone a few times. This is one of those places that like historic places that you would, take visitors to. This sandwich here, I believe, is the Matt's Special. It is oven roasted turkey and some cheese and coleslaw and Russian dressing. And it is pretty stacked. It's delicious. I highly recommend this one in particular. But I mean, they have a full like diner menu though of everything though. Next up is Swingers Diner. So you would think that this one is a very classic old historic diner as well. But it's actually barely older than me. It's from 1993. But it's still really cool to go to, and it is still kind of like an icon of the area. I loved their like hummus and pita chips plate, and then their onion rings are also really good. The cheeseburger's good, like it's fine. I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever in the world, but it is still a good cheeseburger. And then they also had really big chocolate chip cookies for dessert, which I liked. And I also just liked the atmosphere and style and everything too. And they're affordable. So many of these are like neighborhood little spots that are like just very affordable compared to, like, we have a list of like the Beverly Hills ones, and it's all like, you know, Lowry's Prime Rib and the, you know, Four Seasons restaurant, but these are all little like everyday places that you could go to. The French Crepe Company, this is also at the farmer's market. I get Nutella and banana because that's my favorite crepe, but you can really get anything. They also have Orangina, which is like an orange soda. When I did my high school trip to France, I had Orangina every day. I had a Nutella crepe every single day. JP had never heard of it, for some reason, the Orangina. And it's pretty much a novelty. Like, you can get it here. Like, there's some like international like grocery store kind of things that will have it, but it's not very common. So I was happy to have that. And this is what it looked like. So some fun things to do. It was CBS Television City. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% certain because I was thinking of a few different in my mind. So fun things to do in the Fairfax district, farmers market and the Grove. So farmers market, it's not like a little street market. Like, it is a full-on like established place that has like gift shop kind of places and like deli counters and things like that. Like, it is full-on like any type of food, whether it's like grocery type food to like take home and cook with, or actual like prepared food to like sit and eat there. They have a little bit of everything. And then the Grove is like an outdoor shopping mall. We used to go to get like the free Sprinkles cupcake every year for my birthday, but all the Sprinkles locations closed. So I don't really have any incentive to go to the Grove anymore. But they do have like restaurants and shops there. And then next door is CBS Television City. You can go to free TV show tapings. There's a few different websites if you Google it. I went there for The Price is Right a few years ago, and it was convenient that all of this stuff was like right here in the same spot. So we could kind of like kill two birds with one stone by doing that little activity. I do have a blog post of our favorite secret spots in LA that are just kind of like things that most people would never think to go to or don't know exist, or like never get to go to because you're only going to like the main highlights. I also have a post for a one-day itinerary for Universal. They have some new stuff in the last few years, so it's definitely worth checking out again if you haven't been. If you're here in the fall, there's an event called Nights of the Jack in Calabasas. And then Descanso Gardens has an event called Carved that are really popular. And then in the winter, the LA Zoo does holiday lights. Here's a picture of the farmer's market. So you can see like it is a very like established place. It's not like your typical like pop-up street market kind of thing. So where to stay near the Fairfax district, just 3 miles down the road is Beverly Hills. We love the Beverly Wilshire. We stayed there once for New Year's, and it was a really great experience. If you're not familiar with the Beverly Wilshire, it's the one from the movie Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts. That's where she stays. It's like right there at the foot of Rodeo Drive, so it's in walking distance to all like the shops and restaurants. So I recommend doing that at least for one night, one time if you've never been. And then I do have some posts on some other restaurants that we enjoy in the area. So again, just down the street, you have Beverly Hills, and Westwood is where UCLA is. And it is, again, right there on the base of like Beverly Hills and Brentwood. We have a list of our favorite restaurants in those two places. I also have a list for Glendale, Burbank, and Hollywood. And then lastly, I have a larger list of basically all the other areas of LA that weren't covered in all of these other posts. All of our favorite restaurants for those are all in here as well. I do have a little free guide on free things to do in LA. If you're interested, you would just have to put in your name and email address and it'll get sent to you. And that is everything I have for our favorite restaurants in the Fairfax district.